In episode number 223, we cover the sequel I didn't know we needed, Alien Covenant, the trailer.
We also touch on everyone's princess passing away, and that is Carrie Fisher's passing.
One of my new favorite segments, what's new on Netflix for January? Did Dan pick things I actually care about? We'll find out.
Our comic book highlight this week is Justice League versus Suicide Squad number 1.
All of this and so much more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. The way we format the show is first we start out with some news, talking about all the things we just mentioned, comic books, TVs, rabbit trails that I'm going to run down, so much more, and we're going to follow up with our comic book highlight of the week.
This is our first episode in 2017. We've got to start out strong. We've got to start out fresh. We've got new listeners joining us.
I'm starting out sick. I apologize. I have been fighting this stupid cold for a week. And of course, it's the busiest time of the year at my job right now. So there's no taking off. There's no sleeping in. There's no not destroying my body right now. So I apologize if I sound a little like a man.
And being that I love watching stats for the podcast, I noticed that on Christmas Day, we even had some listeners. We had a handful of people tuning in. I know not everyone celebrates Christmas, and I know not everyone is busy on Christmas, but I do want to give a special thank you and shout out to the Brokettes, the Christmas Brokettes, who tuned in to listen to us on the 25th of December last year.
Yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in here on the 1st of January. Awesome. Mm-hmm. This is great that you're starting out the year right. That's what you're doing right now. And you ended the year right, too.
If 2016 was shit, get ready, because this is a strong jumping on point to 2017 for the rest of the year. And if you're listening to this on Patreon and it's still 2016, hello from the future. We traveled into the future to January 1st, 2017, recorded.
Yes.
I had the time to edit all of that and upload it. And then I went to the
back in time.
And then I sent it back to myself in the past so I can give it to our Patreon backers so that you can enjoy in 2016. So you get a head start on 2017.
Dan, I think you're just talking bullshit. You're just making stuff up.
Am I a liar? I don't know. What's the difference? Brokettes are still enjoying it just the same.
This is true.
In my job of retail, things are starting to slow down. As I mentioned last time on the last episode, it's still been a relatively slower holiday season because I'm no longer working 2 to 3 jobs anymore. Just one, we're focusing on the comic book shop. So it is the least stressful of all the holidays that I've worked. Are things ramping down a little bit on your end?
No. From the time that I'm recording, so once we get to the 1st, yes, things are calming down. But from the time we're recording, we're still a few days away from the 1st. And the 31st is the busiest day of the year where I work. Like, we're talking nonstop lines, people ordering, like, food all day. No tables. We have no tables. So today was probably the busiest day that I've worked so far during the holiday season. The next few days are only going to get busier. The great thing about that is right after we get over that first hurdle, like, there's nothing. And I can just relax, take some vacation, calm down. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I as busy as it is, I do get really excited for this time of year because I really love what I do. And I shine when, like, shit's hitting the fan and there's tickets to the floor and things are on fire and people are like, we don't know what we're doing. And I'm like, whoa, this is what we're doing. You do this, bah, 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 throw this out here. That's when I shine. But I'm pretty tired. That is partially what's contributing to this cold that I can't get over. Because I'm just go, 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 go. I don't have time to sit down and eat and take care of myself.
Or sleep, even.
Or to sleep. I'm just drinking coffee and hoping I stay alive.
That'll do it. That'll weaken your immune system.
Accurate.
We hope everyone got whatever they ended up celebrating, they got some great gifts. And if not, that at least December was an awesome month for you. And if you did get some great things, go ahead and share them on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke and at Palpa Kelly, or Facebook.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke.
And wherever you are, we hope you're not freezing to death.
That's right. People do have snow in some states, and I grew up with snow, so I sympathize so much with you right now. If tomorrow morning when you get up for work, you have to scrape off ice on the windshields for your car, if you have to turn on your car for 10 to 15 minutes just so it warms up the gasoline that's been freezing. Well, I don't know if it freezes, but the rest of your engine that freezes overnight that you got to get going. Oh. So I sympathize, and I'm with you there. Keep it up. It's almost over.
I walked into my freezer at work the other day, and it was 4 degrees. And I walked in, and I was like, nope, fuck this. And I walked back out. Sent somebody else in to grab what I needed. I'm like, I'm not about this life.
We do want to start off by sharing off one of the hashtag games that we had earlier last week.
Yeah.
And this hashtag was #myfirstjob in 4 words.
Mine was pretty great. Why don't you share yours first, though? You did share yours on social media?
Yes, mine was pumpkins, hay, and pies. And I worked at a farm.
Okay.
That was my
Selling
first
pumpkins.
job.
I remember you told me about that.
My first individual job where I actually had a W-2 show up. Because before that I helped my dad with some of his work that he to make ends meet. He actually had a paper route as well overnight. So he worked his regular 40+ hours a week shift during the day. And then at night we'd get up at about, I want to say 3 in the morning.
Ooh.
And whenever, he woke me up for it, I'd get up at 3 in the morning and help him with the route as well, which would be an extra, $150 to $200 a week that you could earn from that.
Right.
And it's just making ends meet, and, you help out when you can. That that kind of relates to one of the responses we got here. So let's go on that first after we do your first 4 words.
So I'm sorry, did this have to be a job you got a W-2 for? Because I did not get a W-2 for this job.
It still counts.
All right, fine. My first job in 4 words, try these cinnamon nuts.
You had mentioned you worked at a nut stand?
Yeah, so
in the mall?
Sometimes in the mall they have those stands that sell the cinnamon sugar-coated nuts. Very close family friends. I mean, they're practically family. Ran the cart, and of course for Christmas they were much busier because that's when everybody's buying up this stuff, because they sold the big tins and people would buy them. And I was 14 at the time, and they're like, you want to earn some money? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm at the mall all the time anyway. So I went and I just I handed out samples and I sold nuts. I did that for Christmas. I earned $100.
You got paid under the table?
Yeah, I got paid under the table. At the end of the day, she's like, all right, and she'd count out my cash. I think I made $4 an hour or something. I mean, it wasn't anything, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's cool. So the one response we got for this hashtag game was from Matt on Facebook, who also is one of the hosts on the Super Side Up podcast, friends of the show. And he said, quote, nothing like Paperboy game. Did you ever play Paperboy on the NES?
I didn't, but I've seen it.
Crazy fucking obstacles in that game. Just stuff that I didn't run into when I was helping my dad with the route. Of course not. And so that shit was crazy insane. Yes, it is nothing like the Paperboy game. Less exciting, although I did go into my own adventures as during helping with the paper route.
I have to hear about one of these now.
So I've got a 2. One was I used to be afraid of dogs because I'd never owned one, and I never really interacted with any because growing up, I didn't grow up in the suburbs, so it was just apartment buildings. You couldn't really have dogs, so I didn't really know anyone with a dog. So when it came to the paper route, I was very unfamiliar with dogs, and I was running, I'd jump out of the car and run down the street, and, these were papers, the Sunday papers were massive.
Yeah.
It was a huge route, so it'd take us several hours. It wasn't just a neighborhood paper route that you can take your bike on, in the 50s or 40s, 60s, whatever. This was a massive, large number of papers you have to deliver, as much as you can handle, and that's why, my dad took on so much, because he's like, oh shit, okay, more pay, and, I can do it. So in this case, I'm going out there with my newspaper, and I'm running out into the front door, and I must have been probably 8 or 9 at this point.
You could have gotten kidnapped.
Well, yeah, but my dad was watching from the car. It's fine. And this dog comes running out, and I remember it being a mixed golden retriever or something about that size. And it's running, and I'm like, oh shit. So I start running with the paper still in my hand. And remember, the papers are in bags so that the rain doesn't get to them. It's not like in the movies where they're wrapped up in a rubber band or something like that. They're in bags. So I'm running, and I hear it catching up to me. So I turn around, and as I'm turning around, I swing the paper and hit it in the face, and it immediately takes off in the opposite direction. And I was fucking frightened for a while there because I kept looking out for that dog. But that dog was probably scared of me because knowing dogs now, it probably came up to say hi. And I fucking hit it
Hit
with
in the
the
face.
newspaper, turning around. And the thing is, I wasn't aiming. I was just turning around to defend myself, like, oh my God, to catch it or whatever. And it just happened to be that the swing of the newspaper clocked it in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 8 years old. I don't think about like hitting it with the thing, you know? So I guess I got sort of lucky, but if it had tackled me, then maybe I would be less afraid of dogs or even more afraid.
Mm-hmm.
But the other story I got is there was an apartment complex and we had to drop the newspapers at doorsteps too. So we'd get the key, we'd go inside and we'd have our number. So we'd drop the papers at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So you'd hear poof right outside your doorstep, especially on Sundays, just bam, this massive newspaper. And one night I'm going down the hallway, we split up the floors. So that's where I probably could have gotten kidnapped. Because someone just could have opened the door, dragged me in, and that would have been it.
And you're done.
There'd be no podcast today. And as I'm going, I come out of the elevator door and I have my newspapers and I'm going down towards the hallway and I see something fly right down the hallway and I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? And I go and I peek down and it's coming back and I'm like, oh shit. And that's when I noticed there's a bat.
Oh, fuck.
There's a bat inside the apartment complex. Somehow got in and it was just flying down the hallway back and forth, probably frightened, not knowing how to get out. I can't remember if I delivered the papers or if I just like quickly threw it down the hallway near the door and then went back. But yeah, oh no, what happened is I told my dad and he just went up there and delivered the papers and that was it. Like the bat just flew over his head. It didn't bug him really. Mm-hmm. But that was the other story that my other encounter, a bat and a dog. Batman's traumatized, or he wasn't really traumatized, but his sign is my obstacle as a child.
Did you like fall down the stairwell and then all the bats were around you?
and then they lifted me up.
Then your dad like came down on the like bungee cord and he's like, why do we fall, Daniel?
The other thing I used to do is I broke several pots, not wanting to, but I mean, there was no time to go up to each store and be like, here's the paper, let's lay it down right here. You just have to throw it and move forward. And because some people, they want their papers at a certain time. If they don't get it at like 7 a.m. or whenever they pick up the papers, they get mad, they call in, you don't get paid for that paper, and then you get in trouble. Mm-hmm. So you have to be moving and running and delivering the paper. So you throw the paper at the front step. Sometimes, it'd hit the front door really loud, like boom, or they'd roll into the front door. Well, I had it several times where I throw it, and then it lands on a pot and just destroys the pot, and it's like, oh shit, well... So what I do is I take the paper, like clean it and put it into the door. Like, well, maybe they'll think it's something else. And
you're too funny.
And the other time is I threw it and it rolled, and it continued rolling like vertically. I don't know if you can imagine that. Yeah. It rolled vertically into like one of those floor level windows, like those little windows that are, I don't know why they're there, but they exist and they're in houses, never in apartment complexes, and they just rolled into. Just right into the fucking little window. That was something that we had to pay for, but that's my other story. I just break shit and get chased by dogs and traumatized by bats.
My only story from working at the nut cart is, you used to hand out like I just take my little tongs and here you go, here you go, here you go. And you'd never look at people's faces, you'd just look at their hands. And there was one kid, and I remember him because I recognized his hand. He like would pick one up and then circle the cart and come back around and circle the cart. And then by the third time, I'm like, hey, you've been here. And he's like, oh, and he like ran away. That's my only story.
So what adults do anyway.
Well, yeah.
So let's move on to the news here. And real quick, don't forget, if we do have those hashtag games up, feel free to join in on them and we may feature you on the podcast. Mm-hmm. So on the video game side, and more on the Android and iOS bit, we have some stats on the debut of Super Mario Run.
So since Super Mario Run's release, the game has become the fastest iOS app to hit 25 million downloads.
So at the same time, Nintendo stock dropped due to the game's one-time purchase model over free play.
The main complaint amongst players has been the $9.99 price commitment after its 3 free levels.
So the argument here from investors is that if you have a free-to-play game like Pokemon Go, people can forever buy things on the app. You can forever buy more eggs or egg hatching. You could always buy more coins for the Pokemon Go store. But with Super Mario, I keep wanting to call it Super Paper Mario, I don't know why. But for Super Mario Run, you pay $10 and you get all the levels, and that's it.
Is Super Paper Mario Run like you throw your newspaper and it breaks a pot, so you gotta run? Is that what happens?
But what do you think? Was that smart of them to go with the one-time $10 fee for playing this game? And the argument is that it looks steep to anyone else. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you say, okay, well, here's $1 per level, or here's 50 cents per level, and then you could theoretically keep adding worlds to this game.
Right. Yeah, that would have made them more money because, realistically, you could get $20 or $30 or $40, for the game at the end of it. If you put it in this perspective, though, you got $10 for a Mario game. Now it doesn't seem so expensive. So I see both sides of it. I see why they did what they did. If it were me, I would have said, let's charge $1 per level. And you just keep making your money that way. But then they also have more work to do.
Yeah, I think the $1 per level would have been smarter as well, because you get all the worlds. People that do want to play it from the very end that would have paid the $10 anyway would have then been paying $30 or more. And anyone else that said, you know what, I don't want to play the whole game, I just want some extra levels, you still would have gotten $2, $3, $4 out of those consumers. So even though this game has been downloaded 25 million times, that does not mean that, even half of them are paying the $10 fee to pay and unlock the full game.
Overall, 25 million downloads is still pretty awesome. I'm sure we will continue to see that number rise. I kind of want to try to play it, even though I'm not big on Mario games.
And these are growing pains, if anything, for Nintendo, because as they move forward, they're going to do the Fire Emblem game soon, where it's going to be a similar model to this. Maybe from then, they can kind of take what they learned from this and apply it into the future games.
I want somebody walks in to, Nintendo headquarters. Sir, we shouldn't have done $10. We should have done $1 a level. And he's like, whoever runs Nintendo is just, laying on a bed of money. And he's like, whatever.
$1 per level. You're lucky we didn't make it $20. We're making it $20 next time. 20. Sir, our stock is dropping. $30 fucking per download now.
Stock starts to go up again.
They compliment him on his aggressive nature in business.
He's going to keep my money. I'm going to invest in him more.
He's honest. I like that he says honest things. So now on to your favorite news segment on the podcast. What's new on Netflix? The highlights for January 2017.
What's new on Netflix? January 2017. That didn't work as well as I wanted it to.
At the beginning of each month, Brokettes join us as we let them know what is coming to Netflix, and it mainly relates to what we cover on the podcast. So we've got a hefty list this time. It makes me feel like they've definitely held back in December and November so that they can have a strong fiscal year starting off in 2017.
So keep in mind, this isn't the full list. Of course, you guys can find the full list online. Just Google what's new Netflix 2017, January, whatever. It'll pop up. But this is stuff that is important to us, or mainly Daniel. Starting with Braveheart from 1997.
The film that in the past I've said kind of traumatized me a bit when they're cutting his stomach open off screen.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I saw that when that year it came out, 97, so I would have been about 10 years old.
No, your parents let you watch some crazy stuff, man.
It's not that they let me, it was on television.
Yeah, but they didn't stop you from watching it.
I was at babysitters.
The babysitter should have stopped.
Yes, correct. I agree. This is why I'm not putting my kids through babysitters, because I watch stuff like Braveheart. Unsupervised.
Okay, but didn't your mom take you to see The Exorcist in theaters?
Yes, when I was 13. This is when it came out in theaters again. And that's the first time I ever saw it. And she was very apprehensive in taking me. Like, are you sure you want to see this? I'm like, yeah, I'll fucking see it. She kept looking over at me during the movie, like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I'm not going to leave now. Like, I'm already sitting here watching it. I was too scared to get up and run it or leave the theater anyway. So I'm like,
because that demon girl might get you.
It was fun. Yeah, it still scares me. That movie is amazing. Incredible movie. Not scary, Allie. Although maybe did it scare you as a kid?
Yes, I was terrified.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial, released in 1982.
I was so scared of that movie. I still don't really like that movie because it scares me. Like in the very beginning when there's all the lights and he's like, or when the men in suits come, I can't.
He starts yelling,
no, stop! I don't like that noise. He's weird. I always thought E.T. was weird. Like people thought he was lovable, and I'm just like, nah.
I agree that he does not have a lovable design. I don't know how they could have put him on plushes, on t-shirts. It's an ugly alien.
And then my best friend had like a big ass stuffed animal of him, but it talked and his heart glowed. So like you'd squeeze him and he'd be like, "Whoa!" And so he was shoved in the back of her closet one day, and I guess his circuits were starting to go or something, and he just kept making noise and glowing in the dark. And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" rock.
Just like in the movie.
Yeah, so that's probably why I hate E.T.
Continuing on the list is Hugo from 2011.
We haven't seen this in a long time, but I really, really enjoyed it.
It highlights the classic movie, I want to say it's called Trip to the Moon. And what inspired that film to come about. And what's interesting is that's in the very last quarter of the film. The rest of it is more or less this child kind of coming to terms with growing up and his relationship with his father and how that has to be mended or at least completed because there's a lot missing. And yeah, we really recommend it. If you have Netflix, definitely check out Hugo. We also have a bunch of Superman films coming this month.
First one is Superman Returns from 2006.
The one that people really didn't like.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever seen that one either.
Has the Atom from Legends of Tomorrow as Superman.
Okay.
Also has Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor.
Oh, I do remember. I mean, I saw part of it.
The main complaint about that movie is people said that it was too boring, that it was trying too hard to connect into the older Superman movies as opposed to trying to do its own thing, which is why it caused this reaction that was Man of Steel, where they said if you didn't like Superman Returns, which was trying to be more like the classic Superman movies, then you'll probably like Man of Steel, which is more like an angry god of destruction. And we saw that in Man of Steel, but people said, no, there's too much destruction in that. So it's
not enough like the old movies.
Actually, that relates to the next bit of news after this, which I'll talk about. But in case you did not like Superman Returns or you want to see the Atom wearing the red and blue, although he also wears red and blue in Legends of Tomorrow, we also have Superman the movie and then also Superman 2, 3, and 4.
We also have The Shining from 1980. I did enjoy that movie too, but that is also pretty scary.
One of the movies you have to see before you die. Also, V for Vendetta came out back in 2005.
Yeah, I remember this movie. I thought he was so cool.
Was he romantic?
Yeah,
is that a
he
romantic
was.
character?
I thought he was romantic, and I waited the whole movie to see his face, but then we never saw his face. And then now that I'm older, looking back on that movie, I'm like, he kind of abused her. Why'd she fall in love? This is weird.
That's true. He did.
Yeah. Drowning her, leaving her locked up, eating toilet paper and stuff. Shit.
Also, last year's Ratchet and Clank is coming to Netflix.
I never saw that one. Did you see it?
Completely went under my radar. This must have made no money because I remember seeing the trailer for it in theaters, and then it just came and went.
What does Ratchet look like?
Ratchet, I don't know which one's Ratchet and Clank, but it's like the fox thing with the long ears.
Yeah.
And then Clank is like the little silver robot.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm thinking of. So when I was younger, it was Jack and Daxter. I thought Jack was it Jack who was the like humanoid looking thing?
Sort of. Yeah, he had like elf ears and he had long hair.
No, I thought he was totally hot. But not Ratchet and Clank.
Probably by the second game, because in the first game he's like a kid, and the second one he grows up.
In the first game when it came out, I was a kid.
Oh, well, all right.
And then the second one he grew up, and then I wasn't interested anymore because I liked real men.
Like Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
Just drunkards.
Yes, and Vegeta.
Real men.
Real men.
Men also abusive to other women.
Did Vegeta ever hit anybody though?
He was mentally abusive. Like V for Vendetta never physically hit her either.
He dunked her head in water to drown her. He shaved her head.
He didn't hit her though.
But he shaved her head and he drowned her.
Vegeta leaves planet Earth and leaves Bulma to raise his kid all the time, causing mental scars to poor little Trunks.
Trunks isn't scarred.
He is scarred. That's the different alternate timeline Trunks, which is also scarred. But he's got to be scarred in some way.
I mean, just because his dad abandoned him. I mean,
it's still an abusive dad. Just leaves Earth because he wants to train to be stronger than Kakarot and wants to be the prince of all Saiyans. And just knocks up his wife. Did they get married?
Eventually, way later.
And then in GT, he grows a mustache and wears pink shirts.
Yeah, and then he's there for his family.
Then
like a real man.
Yes, just completely wearing pink, growing mustaches.
Yeah.
No longer training.
He knocked her up again and didn't leave Earth this time.
Abandons his dreams of being stronger than Goku.
Bulma was a strong, independent woman with shit tons of money. She didn't need no man.
It's true. She really didn't need Vegeta. She was fine.
She's like, all right, I got this kid. Cool for me. Go off and fight Kakarot and shit.
If you want to have a bad movie night, Disney's Alice Through the Looking Glass, which came out last year too.
Nope.
The sequel to that other Johnny Depp movie where he plays the Mad Hatter.
You mean the Harry Potter movie that just came out?
No, in this one he breakdances even more, like twice the amount of time. I haven't seen it. I hope he does.
It's just called Alice and the Breakdancing Mad Hatter. That's what it just needs to be
It
called.
is Disney's money sinkhole because they did not make money off of this shit. There's not going to be an Alice 3.
They just said, we got too much money. Let's just make this movie. A lot of people were really excited about it, though.
The sequel?
Yeah.
Well, you must have seen or heard from all of the people that were excited, all 100 of them, because they're not doing a third one.
How much money did that movie make?
Not as much as they needed to. I don't even know if they broke even, but the first one, you remember how much we didn't like the first Alice movie? That movie made so much fucking money that I think the sequel came out a little too late, a little too removed from the release of the first one, that's why people just didn't really want to go out and see it.
Let's see. I want to find out how much. It only made $56 million.
$56 million is nothing. What was the budget?
I don't know the budget because
you got to look it up on Wikipedia.
Oh no,
I got it.
Ooh, whoa, $170 million.
Was the budget?
Yeah.
Holy shit! That's not even. I don't think that counts marketing. Like I said, a sinkhole of money.
Yeah, so it's $175 million fewer than the first film made in its first 2 weeks. Oh, so it may have made a little bit more than that. So in the first 14 days, it only made $56 million.
Usually the opening weekend is the big indicator, and that's when studios decide, okay, let's greenlight a sequel. And in this case, no. It's only going to keep going down after that. Very rare that a movie makes more money in its fourth or fifth week than its opening weekend. The final Netflix highlight is Voltron Legendary Defender Season 2.
This is so great. If you guys haven't seen the first season, go watch it. It's so good.
Ended on a cliffhanger, didn't it?
Yes. I don't remember. Oh, I do remember. Oh, no, we gotta watch it. I remember I was so angry because you're like, we only have 3 episodes left. And I'm like, cool. And then the one episode ends. And I'm like, cool. And then the second episode ends. And I'm like, oh no, a cliffhanger. And then it's like, that's it. Changing shows. And I'm like, no, you said 3. So next month, we're going to get it. We're going to binge watch again. That's what I love about Netflix. They're just like, here's all your shit.
January 2017.
Oh, that's right. Because it's this month now. Because we're speaking from the future. I forget these things.
Again, if you want to see the full list, head on over to Google. What's new on Netflix? January 2017. We've got another movie coming out this year, and we got the first full trailer to Alien Covenant.
Paris, please, open up! I can't do that. I keep infection.
Taking place after Prometheus, Michael Fassbender will be reprising his role as the crew explore the origins of the xenomorphs.
So we saw the Red Band trailer.
Yes.
Had the, gore or the scary moments in the movie.
It was scary.
Does this look more like an Alien movie than what Prometheus was? Does this look like it's going to be a horror movie or an action movie?
This looks like it's going to be an action movie. They're just showing you all the blood to get people interested.
See, I got the opposite. I think this is going to be more like Alien than it's going to be like Aliens. It's going to be like that first movie where there's one xenomorph going through the ship, killing everyone. As opposed to the second one where it's tons of xenomorphs going after the crew and Ripley kicking ass and blowing away all the eggs, even though the queen let her leave and she still said, fuck your fucking eggs, and kind of caused the queen to unattach itself from its egg sac and come after Ripley. Because it makes for a more exciting ending to the movie than if she just said, all right, well, you're going to blow up soon anyway.
Bye, thanks. No, I don't get it. I think they're just showing you the really gory, creepy parts to make you like, oh, we gotta go see it. I think it's gonna be more of an action movie. But you keep bringing up Prometheus. I haven't seen Prometheus. And you keep telling me I have, but the only Prometheus I remember is Prometheus and Bob from, do you remember that show?
Yes. It was,
what was it? Kablam.
Yep.
Man, that's the only Prometheus I know of.
I can't remember if I reviewed Prometheus on the podcast or if we had a podcast at that point. Remembering back on it, I thought it was fine. It was okay. Kind of showed off the engineers and where they came from, what their story was, and implemented the idea that they caused humanity, that they were the jumpstart to this planet, and that's why we sort of resemble what the engineers look like.
Who are the engineers?
The engineers are another race of aliens.
Okay.
They're huge. They're probably 12 feet tall. They're really strong looking. They're all bald.
And are they handsome?
I guess so. They kind of look like Dr. Manhattan, but pale.
Hey, man.
But they're not nude.
Oh. And how do you know?
In the, because I saw the movie. And in the first Alien that came out many years ago, there was the space jockey, which was kind of a fossilized body of a larger alien.
Oh, they're not handsome.
Well, let me see the picture that you're looking at. Yeah, that's them.
No, they're
that's
not.
Right there.
They got like weird bodies.
In the first Alien, they had the fossilized engineer, like I was talking about, the space jockey, had a helmet that kind of looked like the Sandman's helmet that he wears on the mask. But then when you saw Prometheus, you saw that it was just a regular helmet for when they fired off their missiles or fired off I can't remember what the planet killer that they were using. But instead, they look like the pictures that you pulled up, and that's where they connected that connection with humans. Mm-hmm. And one of them burst out of the engineer in the first Alien, and that's what we see in the xenomorph that we see on there. So people expected Prometheus to be the prequel to Alien, and instead it ended up being its own self-contained story that took place before the first and second Alien movies. So I remember a lot of reactions were very disappointed because it didn't have, like, say, Ripley at the very end coming into the ship or something like that.
Dun, 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 dun.
After the credits or during the credits, they did show one of the engineers and then a xenomorph popping out of him. And it's like an early version of the xenomorphs. It's kind of got a weird shape to the head, but you can still tell it's a xenomorph. And I think that was placed there afterwards just so that people can go, oh, okay. Ooh, so this is the monster that we see in the first Alien. So instead, with Alien Covenant, they have said over and over again that this is actually Prometheus 2, but it features the xenomorphs more than it does the engineers.
So I'm Googling the xenomorph you're talking about popping out of this man. That's a spooky-looking xenomorph.
From Prometheus.
Yeah, no. Spooky.
And it could also be the phase in between the different xenomorphs because we never see the alien transform between that little one that bursts out of the chest bursters and then the one that goes around killing people. We never see that transition, and I think that's what that was.
The mid-transition. That's what it looks like. Overall, I thought this trailer looked really cool. It got me excited for it. And I enjoyed the Alien and the Aliens movie. I wasn't like, these are the best things ever. I mean, there's still other movies with good sequels and bad sequels.
Which one did you say you liked more, Alien or Aliens?
The first one. Which one was the first one? Aliens. Alien.
So this is the one where it was just the one xenomorph killing all the crew members one by one. Way more suspenseful. Mm-hmm. Interesting, yeah. They're both really good movies, but they're different categories completely, I would say. One is action and one is sci-fi horror. Mm-hmm. Alien Covenant is set to release May 19th, 2017.
But of course, good things can't go by without some people being upset about them. And this does bring us to this week's Nerd Rage Reaction! Do you still put the regular sound effects?
Every time.
No, but I like mine better.
And you always ask every time.
I know, but I like mine. Because now you should know just not to put them in there. Because I'm just going to go...
So Nerd Rage Reaction is a comment that we find on YouTube, Facebook, right below the article that we find to be irrational, funny, and we can poke fun at. We're not going to give you the username. If you really want to look it up, you're more than welcome to. Best of luck. But here we have the quote of this week's Nerd Rage Reaction.
I'm disappointed. I really wanted to see the engineer's home planet.
So this is the one person that actually did not want it connected to the Alien movies.
Yes.
There are three categories here, Kelly.
Okay.
There are people that want Alien Covenant to be like Alien. Mm-hmm. They want it to be scary again.
Okay.
There's the other category that want it to be like Aliens, which they consider the better of the two movies. Okay. An action movie of Ripley kicking ass again. And then there's this person who wants it to explore the Prometheus world.
This one person.
This one person.
Who wants that. I like that this is what they choose to pick on. Like, of all the things, they could have been like, that sex scene looks really weird in the shower. Or like me, where I went, now she's scarred from shower sex for the rest of her life. But no, they wanted to see the engineer's home world. And they can see that we're not going to see that by the trailer. The trailer has shown them they will never see the engineer's home world.
They probably won't, like, to be honest with you.
Have you seen the movie, Dan? No.
I have not, but based on audience reaction, they want to see xenomorphs. Mm-hmm. They wanted this to connect to Ripley's, what's the word for 4 movies? I know there's trilogy, quad something.
Quad trilogy? Trilogy plus uno?
Most people don't count the third or the fourth one anyway, so Ripley's movie and sequel. That's
What's
what
it
they
called
wanted.
when there's two? Just movie and sequel?
Yeah, just the 2 movies.
Oh.
Now that they're actually giving us xenomorphs and aliens, and it's going to be like one of the 2 movies that people enjoy. They either like the first one and they like the second one more than the other. It's still win-win. This one looks to be more like the first one, although you think it looks more like Aliens. You think it's going to be more like Aliens. But either way, half of the audience is going to be fully satisfied because this is going to be what they want. The other half, maybe not as much, but it's still going to connect to the xenomorphs and Alien. And then this person, no, they want them to just not make as much money. Do a Prometheus 2.
Yes.
Market that shit.
You know, tell this person just not to even see the movie. They're just not even going to enjoy it.
You have Ridley Scott right here. You have Ridley Scott. He's going to want to explore the alien xenomorphs, the engineers, which we got more of. Did you know that originally they were going to go back right after Prometheus? They were going to do another Ripley movie that took place right after Aliens.
Okay.
In which Newt was still alive. Because in the third one, they find out that she died from she never woke up. And instead, it ignores Alien 3 and Alien 4 and just has her wake up with Newt. And we see, it jumps forward in time and they're both grown up. And then they find out more xenomorphs are, somewhere. And she has to fight the xenomorphs again.
That'd be cool.
And Sigourney Weaver was down for it. But then Ripley Scott, and initially he said, no, I don't want to do anymore. He changed his mind and said, no, I do want to make another one, but I don't want to tie it into Ripley or the aliens. So then they had to go and scrap that. And, he came back and he started doing the Prometheus movie, the sequel. Yeah, maybe eventually we'll see Ripley come back in the Aliens universe. I want to see that happen. I want to see one more Ripley movie. And I don't want you to recast her. I want Sigourney Weaver, while she's still around, to fucking strap on a flamethrower onto a machine gun, onto another shotgun, and just save Newt again. Have like a super mega whatever. I don't remember that construction suit thing. It's a fucking Zord. Zordon gave her a Zord to take out the queen alien, and I want to see her do that shit again.
Go Sigourney Weaver! Whoa!
And that same robot from the first one, or from Aliens.
The reboot?
The one that was ripped in half by the alien queen, and he still helped her and Newt. I forgot his fucking name. I remember the actor's name. Oh, no, the Bishop.
Yeah.
The character's name was Bishop. He better return. I don't care if he's old, and I don't care if they had him in Alien vs. Predator. I want him to come back as the robot. Replace Michael Fassbender with Bishop, and have that be the android.
Make it happen. I give the okay. Can Picard show up in there, too, somewhere?
I know we got a lot that we wanted out of all the announcements. We had Gotham City Sirens. We got Ocean Master. Yeah. We had asked, what else is there? Bishop, Sigourney Weaver. We'll find things.
And Picard. So moving on to some Star Wars news, we got a pretty big block here. Although Peter Cushing's estate approved of his likeness to be used in Rogue One, a Star Wars story, the questions of ethics has been raised by viewers.
I raised that as well last week.
And I raise you $5.
But the listeners have yet to hear your opinion on all this. And you haven't seen Rogue One yet.
No. I don't even know who this Peter man is.
Peter Cushing played a villain in the original Star Wars movies.
Okay.
And they recreated him in episode 3, but you only saw the back of him and he kind of turned and you saw the side profile. And it was well done. But in the Rogue One story, they actually made him into a full-fledged character, even though he's already passed on, because this is a prequel to A New Hope.
Oh, I know this guy. He's spooky looking.
Yeah. Correct. And they remade him in full of computer CGI, just like they did with the Marvel characters in Civil War. You saw young Robert Downey Jr. What they do is they have an actor stand in, and then they replace their face and modify it with that of the other actor. So in this case, Peter Cushing. And I was saying there in the Rogue One review that it wasn't well done at all. That they should have kept it at maybe that you should see the back of his head and maybe the side profile, kind of like they did in episode 3. They shouldn't have made him into this large character, and that's something Richard also said last time, is that he should have just been a very small part in all of this. Like, oh, okay, he exists in this universe, and we saw that he has his hand in the events of Rogue One. But instead, he turns around this video game character, and, you can tell because the mouth moves really weird, and the eyes look kind of... It just doesn't look right. And I kind of raised the ethics behind having someone that's already dead and recreating him with computers to move around and talk and all that. And I don't know, I think that's weird to me. That's super weird to me.
I feel like they should have just gone a different route, or like you said, only shown part of him. I applaud them for taking the risk, I guess. I mean, that's...
This movie would not have made less money if they didn't do it.
I get that, but if this is something that they can perfect, how does that change different movies?
Well, that's something Chris brought up last week, is he's concerned that in the future, maybe they'll just have computer characters and voice actors, which I don't think it's going to ever get that bad.
No,
I don't think that's
so either, because people go to see movies specifically for these people.
Sure. Yeah.
But something you got to think of, if they had been able to do this when Heath Ledger died, how different would the third Batman have been?
That would have been fucked. Like that, people would have protested that movie.
Oh, I'm sure they would have, but I'm saying in situation like those where you have wasn't there also one movie where they were filming and then the actor passed away, and so it's something, and Johnny Depp was in the movie too.
Oh, you're thinking of Heath Ledger's movie.
Oh, was it Heath Ledger again? Yeah, and so then it had to be finished by different actors.
Yeah, and in the Crow, Brandon Lee died during the filming of it, so they called it like a cookie cutter effect, where they put his face onto another actor's for those final like establishing shots, and everything else was done by a stunt double, and they just had his face covered in shadow, so you couldn't really see him. So yeah, it's been something that they've used in the past, and even back then with The Crow, they were like, that's kind of fucked up too.
Right.
At first they did a mask of Brandon Lee, and they're like, wear that, and they're like, no, that's too weird, we're just not going to do that.
It's super scary.
So instead, they have come out and talked about this CGI effect and this practice, and this comes from producer John Knoll, who addressed a concern of the use of this CGI technology in future Star Wars films.
Quote, "It is extremely labor-intensive and expensive to do. I don't imagine anybody engaging in this kind of thing in a casual manner. We're not planning on doing this digital recreation extensively from now on. It just made sense for this particular movie." End quote. So
I don't think it made sense, though.
Nobody liked it. Bail.
No, I mean, Star Wars fans don't really have an issue with it. I think I'm in the minority in this, along with Richard, that maybe it shouldn't have been done. And I don't know, maybe people will kind of change their minds in the future once they look back on Rogue One and say, you know what, yeah, maybe they shouldn't have used that, Peter Cushing again. Even though they have his, the permission of the estate, doesn't mean that you should still, use it. So I don't know, it's still, I guess they're just addressing people that have brought this up at this point. And now that more and more people are seeing Rogue One, some people are asking that question. The same effect was also used to recreate Carrie Fisher at spoilers. Damn. What? Everyone's seen Rogue One.
I haven't seen Rogue One. Why'd you spoil it for me?
You don't care.
I don't care.
To recreate Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. So at the very end, actress turns around, the stand-in, and they recreated a young Carrie Fisher. You see her face, and it's A New Hope.
This does lend itself very nicely into some not very good news, though. Because 2016 couldn't just leave us alone.
It kept going, relating to Star Wars still. And I know she was very important for a lot of our listeners. A huge base of Brokettes are big on Star Wars. So after suffering a heart attack flying from London to Los Angeles, Star Wars actress Carrie Fisher passed away at the age of 60.
Carrie Fisher landed her first major role in Star Wars at age 19. Fisher was best known as Princess Leia Organa, the fierce rebel leader whose capture sparked the events of Star Wars A New Hope. She played Leia in all 3 original Star Wars films, revising her role as Leia, now a general, in 2015's Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy issued a statement saying, quote, "Carrie holds such a special place in the hearts of everyone at Lucasfilms. It is difficult to think of a world without her. She was Princess Leia to the world, but a very special friend to all of us. She had an indomitable spirit, incredible wit, and a loving heart. Carrie also defined the female hero of our age over a generation ago. Her groundbreaking role as Princess Leia served as an inspiration of power and confidence for young girls everywhere. We will miss her dearly," end quote.
Growing up, I wasn't huge on Star Wars, but having lost Alan Rickman recently, I feel what a lot of these Star Wars fans are feeling.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
It translates very similarly. Alan Rickman's loss was especially heavy on us. Mm-hmm. And Harry Potter, I think is safe to say, is a smaller has a smaller fan base than Star Wars. So I can only imagine what a lot of these people already, in their 40s, 50s, 60s that grew up on Star Wars are feeling when they see one of the main characters in the trilogy pass on, and a character that they were building to do more in future Star Wars films.
This news has resonated all the way down into the comic book industry, too. Poe Dameron comic book writer Charles Soule tweeted out that he will be changing an upcoming scene in the book to honor the late Carrie Fisher.
He tweeted by saying, quote, "There's a funeral in Poe Dameron number 14 and Leia's present, writing that scene today. Wasn't originally about her, but now it will be," end quote.
This book is solicited for May 2017.
Carrie Fisher continued the role of Princess Leia until the recently wrapped Star Wars Episode 8, which is coming out on December 15.
This franchise will not be the same without her, and our heart grieves for all the Broquettes, especially, that this has affected.
And the Star Wars movies would not have been the same if it weren't for this particular actress of Carrie Fisher. If it had been anyone else, it would have still been a very different trilogy for a lot of fans and for the movies as a whole. And the fact that she did return to do more of these movies, it kind of made the new trilogy feel like home again for a lot of the fans, bringing back a lot of those actors, Harrison Ford, but more instrumental, Carrie Fisher. Even in the story itself, when you see that she is the remaining parent of Kylo Ren who has gone off the deep end, I can only imagine what they're going to do with that in the next movie. So huge loss to a lot of fans, to a lot of listeners, and clearly she will be missed by fans everywhere.
It really broke my heart looking at Mark Hamill's Twitter the day that it happened. And all he did is he posted a picture of them, and I believe it just said devastated.
But with that, listeners, reflect on Carrie Fisher. Check out all of the artists on Twitter that are putting up Star Wars fan art and a bunch of sketches, paintings of Carrie Fisher, photographs of her in behind-the-scenes production photos, and just keep reflecting on that and enjoy the movies, since that is how they kind of immortalize themselves, in these films, and you could always pop them in, see their performances as they were, in this case, as she was in Episode 4 at age 19.
Now we're going to switch into some DC news, another big chunk of news just for DC, starting with some movies. In an interview with Cinema Blend, Viola Davis, who plays Amanda Waller in Suicide Squad, expressed what made the role so attractive to the multi-Oscar-nominated actor.
Viola's quote here is, "What was fun to me about Amanda Waller, she has no superhuman strength, but absolutely just puts fear into the hearts of all these villains. That appeals to me greatly. There's something about her for me that was familiar. I was working out the bad girl, but from a space that, for me, is based somewhat in reality. I like playing with that power. It's something so often not given to women, that kind of unapologetic badassery," end quote.
So essentially, she was a badass bitch.
Yes, she was.
And that's why she was great to play. I'd play her too.
Did you admire her performance in Suicide Squad?
I thought she
did
did a great
of
job.
Amanda Waller?
Yeah. Well, I've always liked the character of Amanda Waller because she doesn't take shit. She figures out Batman. That's my favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
And she speaks up to him and stands up to him.
Yeah.
Even though she's frightened. You see in Justice League Unlimited when her hand is shaking and she looks down at herself surprised because Batman intimidated her, even though she's intimidated him in the past.
Right. I love it. She controls everybody, and she doesn't take no for an it's great.
Can't wait to see more of Viola in the future. Maybe in the Harley Quinn movie in Gotham City Sirens, maybe in the Deadshot solo movie, but definitely in Suicide Squad 2.
Suicide.
On to some comic book news. Batman New 52 artist Greg Capullo announced last week that he has just signed another contract with DC Comics for an ongoing title after Snyder's, quote, Bat-centric Summer 2017 event.
Finally!
Get that shit on lockdown, DC Comics, because Greg Capullo is one of the best pencilers out there right now.
Pay him whatever he wants. Pay him all the monies.
He was already going to come back for that event, but on Twitter he said that there's yet another ongoing title that he has signed on for, which is good because on Twitter he has said, and I think that's kind of a way to up his contract. He's like, well, I've also wanted to draw Wolverine, and I've wanted to do Captain America. So maybe that's to light a fire underneath DC's ass to
you
be
know
like,
it is.
let's
Here, come on.
or a fire under Disney to be like, offer him fucking Captain America, whatever.
Give him whatever he wants.
But DC right now is spending money. They're the ones that are locking down these artists, these big name artists, even for just covers. You know, Neil Adams is doing the variants for Green Arrow all the time. Greg Capullo now, who's more expensive than ever. You know, he came out of the Batman title, which was their best-selling DC comic, and came out of that with more work than he could ever want. He never has to do commissions until, you know, he retires from comics. Then if he wants to do commissions, he is good on money and work. He's currently doing Reborn. He's finishing that up. And then he's coming back to Batman, which is just how we want it.
This does give us another nerd rage reaction, though. I keep waiting for Capullo to do a series or character I like.
Do they know that he did
Batman? Right, that's
Everyone
what I was
likes
just
Batman.
thinking. Right, they must not know.
They missed out.
Yeah, they must have only seen like his other work.
Spawn.
Spawn. They must have only seen Spawn, and they're like, that Spawn guy, man. I wish he'd do Batman. But he did Batman. So
now he has all the this Nerd Rager has all the trades, the hardcovers. They can catch up on years of Capullo work. Enjoy. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
So DC Comics, as I mentioned, is dropping money. They have also put together 11 different DC Rebirth commercials to air on major cable networks this month.
These will air on AMC, IFC, TBS, TNT, True TV, El Rey, and Boomerang.
The ads will spotlight titles such as Batman, The Flash, Green Arrow, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Supergirl, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
In addition to this, DC is offering retailers commercial funds for local markets promoting Rebirth along with the space for a store tag near the end of the ad.
Boom.
Done.
All you could ask for. When I went to that DC summit last year for showcasing DC Rebirth, one of the questions that they brought up to him was, why don't you guys just promote the DC comics in the CW shows? Why don't you guys have, you know, Stephen Amell holding up a Green Arrow comic book or trade and have him tweet it out and say, hey, volume 3 is available now. And Didio said, yeah, it's not that easy. We can't just tell them like, hey, under the contract, you also have to promote these books. Because he outlined very clearly that the publishing company of DC Comics and what they do on CW are like, they might as well be two completely different companies. Right. They don't just, you know, work one-on-one and go across the hallway and say, hey, by the way, can you have him tweet out this thing? Because he has to anyway. So, no, they have to work out a separate contract and pay them separately for that. Even though it's all still Warner Brothers money going into Warner Brothers money, each division it acts as its own financial company pretty much.
Right,
so if something is failing on one end, WB then comes down on that part of themselves and says, hey, you know, bring up the money, bring up the income, whatever it may be. So this is them, and they have said they're looking into it at that time, and this is the result of it. Now they're actually going to get commercials on CW, because to the person who asked the question, they said just get commercials on those networks. It's like, yeah, even though Warner Brothers owns the networks, they can't just air whatever the fuck they want, because again, separate divisions, separate companies.
Separate
Might
money
as well
pots,
be separate companies. Exactly. Different funding. And you can't explain that really to the higher ups at Warner Brothers. You can't just say, well, we're going to use all this because it's the same company anyway, so just air those commercials. They have to work contracts out, and that's what they finally hammered out. It took almost a year to do it, but we are going to get that. And as we're rolling into the season, you know, the second half of the seasons for a lot of these huge shows, now they're going to air out these commercials, because why not put one of these commercials during their season finale?
Absolutely. I think it will help so much. It'll bring more people in. They'll go, oh, I didn't know there was a book about this. And yeah, they're going to think it's exactly like the TV show, and it's not. But as we've seen with Rebirth, a lot of these titles are amazing. So you're definitely going to get more people in and get them hooked.
And to anyone bitching that they're spotlighting Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, weren't they spotlighting Midnighter and Apollo?
Because nobody reads those.
They want to sell comics. Like, if the hook is the Flash, get them into the Flash. If the hook is, I'm watching Gotham, or, well, it's not going to air on Fox, but going back to Green Arrow. If the hook is Green Arrow and they want to read more about it, here's the trade paperbacks. Everyone starts out somewhere and they branch out to the other characters from there. You cannot advertise new Superman on major TV networks, because no one's going to go, oh yeah, fuck yes, I'm going to go pick up new Superman at my local comic book shop. They're going to say, I want to pick up The Flash Volume 1 from DC Rebirth and catch up from there. That's what it's aiming to do. And yes, you do spotlight the characters that are going to sell.
With the upcoming movies, I would be interested to see if they'll show a trailer, like for Wonder Woman, show the Wonder Woman trailer, and then catch up on her story through here. I mean, I don't know that their contract goes that deep, but...
I'm curious to see if these commercials are going to say available at a comic book retailer near you, or if they're going to also throw in Comixology or the DC app. I'm very curious what they're going to do with that. But I have a feeling it's going to be a retailer thing because in addition to this advertising, they went out to retailers and said, hey, here's some funding, make some commercials, we'll prove them, and we'll pay for them completely, get your shop's name out there, and you're good. But they have to be local. So, that, it has to be through a local radio station, through TuneIn would work on it, through local television stations, although the best bet would probably go through radio or internet ads since, people aren't really sitting down and watching TV like they were before. They more or less do the TiVo and recorded.
Is TiVo still a thing?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Really?
I'm sure it is. But people can still watch these commercials during their favorite shows. If they're already watching the DC television shows, that's not an issue. But it's trying to aim at the viewers that are not watching these television shows to try to get their attention outside of just the DC Comics block.
And that does do it for all of our news this week. We do have, that was a lot of news. That was a lot of rabbit trails.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm good
Starting
at
out
some
strong,
rabbit
2017.
Yeah. But that does lead us into our Patreon shout-out of the week, the first one of the year.
2 shout-outs,
Kelli. 2 shout-outs.
First goes out to Alexander on Twitter at Swordfish Show. You can head on over to purpleswordfish.com to check out his YouTube channel. He just hit over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's amazing.
Congratulations, Alexander, and thank you so much for the support.
We also have a shout-out that goes out to Lourdes and Katie.
To all 3 of you, thank you so much for helping us reach our Patreon goals. And we did complete 2 of them last year.
Yes.
On our way to goal number 3. Hopefully we'll hit that this year. But if not, huge thanks because we do have a phonic that we can put the podcast through every single week. And last week, as we showcased, we can have interviews. So if there's a different level between each speaker, it adjusts for that. And that's all thanks to all of you every single month.
If you guys are listening and say, you know what, 2017, I want to be a Patreon supporter as well, you can go to patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke. For as little as $1 a month, you too can get your Patreon shout out as well as other perks.
We also want to thank fandomfi.com for the help at the $5 reward tier. If you find that you cannot help us out on the Patreon side, leave us a review on iTunes. Those reviews go a long way in helping new broadcasts find the show.
But of course, guys, our podcast will always be free. That is not changing in the new year. Best thing you can do, like Daniel said, just leave us a review, tell your friends about us, talk to us on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke or at Palpakelli. We do this show for all of you to interact with you and find people who enjoy the same things we do.
On to our comic book highlight this week. We've got the major event for DC Comics right now, kicking off with Justice League versus Suicide Squad, number 1 of 6.
This is written by Joshua Williams with art by Jason Fabach, and the colorist is Alex Sinclair. That is not a good colorist name.
Poor Joshua Williamson. I don't know who Joshua Williams is, but they got credit just now for this movie.
Sorry,
this
Joshua Williamson.
We're going to see this as a movie someday. I don't know if it's going to be this.
Oh, yeah.
It's not going to be this story.
No, but we'll see it.
The way Bruce Wayne is threatening Amanda Waller at the end of those credits of Suicide Squad, I was like, fuck yes, give me that movie, Justice League versus Suicide Squad. That's going to happen, and looks like it may happen.
Oh, for sure. Of course it will.
But if you can't wait for that, we've got this major event, 6 issues. What is the conflict here? What is the issue with Batman and Amanda Waller's Task Force X?
So initially the Justice League is like, oh man, these guys are just going around doing stuff. And Batman's like, no, they're part of a secret task force. And Amanda Waller, and where are the other dogs going? And they're like, oh. And then they go to stop them.
I don't know, Superman. Do you think we should go? I think we should listen to Batman. Like, we should just go with him.
Just
and see
go.
I'll go with him if you guys don't.
You
if you guys don't want to go,
wait here.
I'll go
We'll
with him.
We'll check it out together.
And we'll if we have to, we'll stop the Suicide Squad together. Like, just him and I. You guys don't worry about it.
No,
come on,
just,
Batman.
Just
let's
stay
go.
here and relax. We got this. I'll carry you, Batman. We don't want to waste jet fuel flying over there.
Do you think Batman should go, Superman, since he doesn't have powers? I mean, shouldn't we go instead, and he can, from the Watchtower, give us strategies?
No, he's been fighting, like, Harley Quinn, and he fought her before, so we'll just, we'll go together.
The Joker might show up.
He might.
He's already taking
Killer
control
Croc,
of this.
that's one of his villains, too.
And Deadshot, so 3 Batman.
And
no, he's coming with me. He's coming with.
We got.
Yeah, that's essentially the thing is,
Yeah.
is Batman wants to stop Amanda Waller's team. He kind of questions the ethics, of course, of Amanda Waller saying, help us out or else, I blow up your fucking heads. And that's the thing. And he says, no, we can get them help. We can get them out of it. And Flash's argument is that's not how you rehabilitate criminals. You don't send them out on government missions, send them out to kill people.
No, really? That's not?
Have them save the world for Amanda Waller's plans, and then cut down on their sentences. And the reason is Amanda Waller knows, or at least she assumes, that they're going to die anyway.
Right.
So cutting their sentences, who gives a shit, because they're going to die. But the Justice League wants to stop that program.
Of course. And, of course, when they get there, the Suicide Squad just has to fight them because...
It's in the title.
That's what the versus is for. At the end of the day, I thought it was a pretty good start. It was cool seeing all, the characters fight. They randomly threw in Killer Frost.
She joined in one of the backup stories. I think it was for Suicide Squad, actually. In the backup story, Killer Frost is brought into the Suicide Squad, and her terms are given to her by Amanda Waller. So people wanted continuity and kind of a harmony between all of the DC comics looking into Rebirth. That was one of their biggest complaints, and I still don't see why continuity is so important to readers, but it is.
Because it is, Dan. It just is.
And DC listened, and everything connects now. Because that's what readers want. They want everything to make sense. One of the biggest things was, well, if Gordon is Batman here, then how come Batman is Batman in Justice League? It's like, who gives a shit? They're individual books. Who cares? But now DC is like, no, well, you guys want everything to connect, so here you go. Everything connects. And in the same book here, it says, watch Killer Frost, join in Suicide Squad number this.
Yep.
And Batman says, I just went off this mission with Amanda Waller and sent me to Bane's thing. And it says right here, yep, read Batman 9 through 13. So all of that now counts, and everything is one big story, and that's what people wanted. So whatever happens here will hopefully not do what Civil War II did, in which the results of this aren't seen later on because this book is delayed. And that's one of the things that DC also said, is that if something gets delayed, they'll just bring in another artist, bring in another writer to pick up the slack and just continue. So this is a result of what readers wanted. Take that as you will. I thought it was good. I thought it was entertaining. It brings back some villains that hadn't been used in years. So again, that harkens back to Rebirth, going to the readers that have supported the medium for many, many years.
Recommended? Tell readers to pick it up?
The first issue so far, yes. If you like Suicide Squad and you like the Justice League, you get both of these in it. You get extra pages for $3.99. This book was originally $4.99.
Wow.
And DC cut the costs to try to keep on that promise of lower priced books. This is an event book. It's not going to be a part of the ongoing titles because this is called Justice League versus Suicide Squad. So it's not part of the $2.99 line. So if you don't want to read the event book, you don't have to pay the extra and be forced into it. Like, let's say you're reading Justice League and you're like, fuck, this is a crossover, which there are going to be, but they're not the main event that you have to pay extra for. It's still going to be $3 for those tie-ins, but they're not the main title.
And with that will do it for our podcast this week. First podcast 2017. Hopefully it was a good one for you guys.
2015 compared to 2016 nearly doubled our listeners. So I can't wait to see what 2017 brings for new Broquettes, new voices, and the old ones. Everyone that has been supporting us since 2012. Huge thanks to all of you. Can't wait for another year of tweets and comments and interactions. All of that I'm really looking forward to. December, a quick summary of that month. We were on track near the beginning for it being our best month in 2016. Right around the Christmas week, a lot of people, they go out of town, so downloads started cutting down a little bit. But even with that slowdown, that Christmas slowdown, we still ended up being, I want to say, the fourth most downloaded month in all of 2016.
That's awesome.
So we kept topping several months as we continued. The days went by, and we had even more downloads, another spike of downloads. So some of that can be attributed to the post-Christmas, in which people got iPhones for Christmas and they see, okay, well, what's this podcast app? And they go into it and they're like, oh, well, what if I type in Batman? And then, several podcasts show up. And, if you're new listeners, if you're a new Broquette from that gifting that you got, welcome to the show. Hopefully you find something on the podcast today or even in the future that you learned about, that you found funny, or that you found informative. So as long as you took something out of the podcast then I feel like, we kind of did our job. So huge thanks, and thank you for tuning in too.
Of course, you guys can always talk to us on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke or at Palpakelli, because I am Emperor Palpakelli.
You are?
Yes. So definitely reach out to us on there if there's something you'd like to see or something you want us to talk about on the show, or maybe something you want us to look into. Definitely hit us up on there. We're also on Facebook, but for everywhere you can find us, you can go to thereasonsimbroke.com. We got our shop up there. We have all the different podcatchers you can find us. Lots of things. Daniel works very hard on our website, and I'm very appreciative.
So thank you so much for tuning in this week. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelli.
We'll see you next time.